Hey MB fam, we are back with part 3 of the van conversion.
Last time we had left off with the walls freshly prepped for wiring and insulation. And with those two things out of the way, we could move on to the wall. Now with the wall, I decided to break it up into two parts, with the lower part being a sandy 1/4 inch plywood. The plywood was one piece, but it did have to make multiple cuts in order to fit around the wheel well, as well as that gas tank that you can see in the lower left corner. You can also see the beginning of the framing that would ultimately become my bed. Now at this point, the plywood was not screwed in all the way. It was just there in order to give myself a basis for where the bed frame was actually going to fit in. Now once I had collected all the proper measurements, it was in at this point where I decided to add in the conduit hose for the wiring. In order to do this, I would have to cut a hole the size of about a 1/4, a little bit bigger, in order to fit the conduit hose through the wall, as you can see in this next picture coming up. And with that hose coming through the conduit, I was then able to screw the plywood up against the wall and then add all the caulking. Once the caulking was added and allowed to dry, I then moved on to the corner, as you can see in this picture. Now for the corner, I did a lot of thinking, because there's no really easy way to curve wood, so I decided to do it in a couple sections. One would be in a 1x3 going straight up at the corner, and then the other two pieces of sandy loam plywood would fit in very nicely. Now once all the pieces were put together, I then screwed it in, cut it all nicely and accurately. I then began the process of thinking about how I was going to be doing the top part. As you can see in this picture, I began adding the plywood pieces to the top just to get some type of idea for what I was going to be moving forward. And from here, ideas of all types were coming into my head, but I needed some weight in order to form a support at the bottom. So I added beams in order to support my weight in the center on the bottom. In the back part, as you can see in this picture, I did a little custom makeshift just in order to get the measurements correctly around that wheel well. I then added a couple of secret compartments as well as the hinges to get it all together nicely. At this point, the bed was starting to come alive, so I added a little side panel. And with the work zone becoming the workbench, that brings us to the end of part 3, and it is currently caught up to where I am currently. With that being said, if you'd like to support the channel, please leave a like or a comment, and be sure to subscribe for future updates. See y'all next time, MB fam.